It was early morning. The light hadn't fully crept through the curtains yet. The house was still just the soft ticking of the heater and my quiet footsteps down the hallway. My father was already awake. No lights on, no rush to get out of bed. He just sat there, still on the edge of the mattress, his head slightly bowed, both hands resting on his left hip. His fingers moved in slow, steady circles, like he was trying to calm something deeper than just muscle. His face wasn't twisted in pain, but his brow was furrowed, and I could see it. Something was pulling at him from within, quietly. I stood at the doorway. He stood up, and for a moment his left leg faltered. His body leaned just slightly to one side. He reached for the dresser, steadying himself with practiced hands. His eyes looked forward, but the way he moved spoke louder than words. My dad is still active. He drives, shops, waters the plants. But lately, every single morning, he presses his hand to his hip and winces just a little. The strange thing, he always sleeps on his left side. No pillow between his knees, no support beneath his hip, all his weight resting in one place for 7 hours every night. I used to think, maybe it's just the cold, maybe it's just age. But now I wonder, could it be that just one missing pillow, one simple change has left his hip bearing years of quiet pressure without anyone noticing? My father has always liked things quiet at night. No nightlight, no extra pillows, no one fussing with his blanket once he's settled in. He's always slept on his right side. Says it helps him breathe easier. Softer on the heart, he says. Puts me to sleep faster. And honestly, it sounded reasonable. Side sleeping is common. Plenty of people do it their entire lives. But what no one really talks about is this. When you sleep on your side, without a pillow between your knees, all the pressure goes straight to your lower hip. The top leg drapes over. The bottom hip sinks deep into the mattress. And all night long, that joint carries the weight of your body alone. At first, my dad didn't complain. He'd just rub his hip a little each morning, stand up a bit slower than usual. Guess I walked a little too much yesterday, he'd say. But over time, the soreness became more than stiffness. It turned into a real ache. He started shifting in his seat more, groaning softly when he stood up. One day, he muttered under his breath, "My hip feels like a jammed wheel. Every turn creaks." I got worried. But when I brought it up, he waved it off. "I've slept this way my whole life. It's fine." Still, something didn't sit right with me. So I started reading, and I found a note from a spinal care specialist at the Oregon Center for Spine and Aging. In senior's side, sleeping without a pillow between the legs can subtly rotate the hip joint out of alignment. This puts stress on the surrounding muscles and ligaments, leading to mild joint misalignment over time. It's particularly common after age 65 when connective tissues become less elastic. I read it again, and all I could picture was my dad, lying on his side, one leg heavy over the other, his hip gently twisting. Night after night, a quiet misalignment, building with time. No one had ever told him that just a small pillow, placed between the knees, could help keep his hips aligned, could ease the pressure, could give his body the rest it was quietly aching for. Side sleeping feels so natural, so familiar, but sometimes it's the familiar things that hide the damage, not because we're careless, but because no one ever taught us how to protect what we don't see. I started watching more closely, not by asking questions, just quietly observing. Every night, my father moved through the same routine. He'd pat his pillow into place, always right at the edge of the mattress. Then he'd lie down on his right side, bend his left knee, curl his arms in front of him like a child falling asleep in the back seat of an old car. No pillow between his legs. His top leg dropped straight onto the bottom one. His hip twisted ever so slightly toward the mattress. And the pillow beneath his head, it was just a bit too high. Tilting his neck forward in a way that didn't look quite right. I saw it all, but I said nothing. Because I've learned, for older folks, there are some habits that don't change with logic. That night, I brought a small pillow into his room. It was light, soft, like a puff of air in fabric form. I said gently, "What if you tried placing this between your knees when you sleep on your side? It might help keep your hips aligned." He shook his head already under the covers. "Too fussy, sweetheart. I'm used to this. That pillow's just in the way." I didn't press, just set the pillow aside, turned off the light, and let it be. But the next night, after he had fallen asleep, I walked into his room quietly. No words, no waking him, just a small kindness. I gently lifted his top leg and slid the pillow between his knees. He didn't stir. The room was still warmed by the low orange glow of the heater near the floor. He breathed steadily, at ease. The next morning, I was in the kitchen making tea when he walked in. No groaning, no pause to rub his hip. He sat down, leaned back in his chair, and almost to himself, he said, My hip doesn't feel so bad this morning." I didn't say a word, just smiled, because I knew sometimes all it takes is one good night without pain to open someone's heart to change. That night, he got into bed the same way, on his side, but this time he looked around the room and asked, "Hey, where's that soft little pillow? From the other night, I think I want to try it again." I didn't smile because I was right. I smiled because he felt it, the difference, and he wanted more of it. In the days that followed, something shifted. He stopped sitting on the edge of the bed holding his hip. He stopped twisting with discomfort when getting out of a chair. His steps became steadier. He stood a little taller, and his eyes, they looked lighter somehow. One morning, I heard him chuckle to himself and say, "I've slept like this for decades. And only now does my hip feel like it's truly resting." We often think our bodies adapt to discomfort, but the truth, they don't adapt. They cope, they carry it, they fold around it until one day they can't anymore. And sometimes, just one small change, one quiet, well-placed pillow, is all it takes for the body to finally say in its own gentle way, "Thank you." When we're young, the body corrects for us. Sleep the wrong way, it adjusts. Lie crooked, it compensates. But after 60, the body becomes less forgiving. One night of poor posture can mean a whole week of lingering pain. For years, I thought my dad had his sleep figured out. Same position every night on his side. No fancy gear, no body pillows, just the old routine he'd always trusted. "I sleep just fine," he'd say, but lately I noticed a quiet pattern. Each morning he'd rub his hip, he moved slower, and when he stood, he'd wince, just slightly, but enough to notice. The more I looked into it, the clearer it became. When you sleep on your side without support, your hips rotate, your top leg slides down, your lower hip bears the full weight of your body, night after night. Over time, that slight twist becomes strain. The pelvis shifts, the hip joint takes the hit. It doesn't scream, it whispers until it hurts just to stand. The good news: you don't need a new mattress, you don't need expensive gadgets, you just need 3 simple changes. Things you can try tonight. 1. Use the right pillow for your head. Not too high, not too low. Many older adults use thick pillows. Thinking more means better, but when you sleep on your side. Too much height tilts the neck upward. It strains your shoulders. It pulls at your spine. Too little height, your neck sags, your muscles stay tense. Ideal. A pillow that's 2 to 3 inches thick, firm but gentle. It should cradle your neck and keep your head, shoulders, and spine aligned. Think of it like a soft bridge carrying your head to the bed without dropping it. 2. Place a soft pillow between your knees, the quiet game changer. This is the secret most people overlook. When you place a pillow between your thighs and knees, a few beautiful things happen. Your hips stay aligned, and your top leg doesn't pull your pelvis down. Your lower back stops twisting, and most importantly, your whole body relaxes. No fighting gravity, no straining the spine, just rest. The pillow doesn't need to be big, just soft enough to keep your knees apart, just firm enough to keep your hips neutral. From Dr. Ellen Mark, Geriatric PT, New Jersey Wellness Center. Placing a pillow between the legs helps align the hip-pelvis-spine axis and can reduce pelvic joint pressure by up to 65% in seniors over 65. That's not small, that's life-changing. 3. Add a foam layer if your mattress sags. Let's face it, mattresses wear out. Even the best ones soften over time, and if your hip sinks deeper than your shoulder, that curve pulls the spine out of balance. But you don't need to replace the whole bed. Just add a thin foam topper 2 to 3 centimeters thick, either under your whole body or just beneath your lower back and hip zone. It lifts you evenly, gently. It keeps your spine from falling into a sag. These 3 tiny changes might sound simple, but together they create something incredible. Your neck rests instead of folding. Your hips balance instead of twisting, and your spine lies straight instead of sagging. My dad. He didn't need a doctor's note. He didn't need a whole new bed. He just needed a single pillow, placed in the right place. Now he stretches gently in the morning, pours his tea with ease. No grimace, no hand pressed to his hip. He breathes like a man who finally truly rested. We often think age causes our pain, but sometimes it's the way we lie in bed, unaware that we're twisting, that we're compressing, that we're slowly misaligning ourselves every night. And just one pillow, placed with quiet care, might be the difference between a night of tension and a morning without pain. This morning, my father didn't step onto the porch holding his hip like he usually did. He stretched just a little, opened the window, and sat down in his favorite wooden chair. No groaning, no grimacing, just the soft sound of tea pouring, birds fluttering outside, and a quiet smile that lingered. "I slept so well last night," he said. "Not sure why, but I just felt at ease." I smiled because I knew it wasn't magic, not a new medicine, not even a new bed. It was just one pillow, placed exactly where it needed to be. Before that, he'd sit at the edge of the bed every morning, one hand rubbing his hip, the other bracing the mattress. He'd lower his feet, only to pull them back again from the soreness. The pain was never sharp, but it was steady, a quiet weight, chipping away at his energy, turning each sunrise into a negotiation with his own body. Most people think sleep is automatic, that if we close our eyes, rest will follow. But the truth, sometimes the smallest misalignment, night after night, can quietly steal our comfort, without ever making a sound. Now he doesn't hug his side when he wakes. He doesn't lean against the wall, waiting for his joints to wake up. Just one soft pillow, gently placed between his knees at night, and his hips stay supported, his joints remain balanced, and sleep becomes what it should have always been, restful. I'm no expert, just a daughter, but if you're watching this, Maybe you've seen it too. Someone you love wincing as they rise, their smile a little tired, their walk just a little uneven. So here's a small invitation, one you can try tonight. If your mom, dad, or partner sleeps on their side, try slipping a soft pillow between their legs. Nothing fancy, nothing big, just the right size in the right spot. You might just give them their first pain-free night in years. And if stories like this feel familiar, feel like home, I'd love to invite you to subscribe to this channel. Here we don't sell products, we share quiet truths. The little things aging bodies carry, the aches no one talks about, the adjustments no one teaches us, but that make all the difference. Every week you'll find a new story about sleep, about sore shoulders and stiff backs, about the small, gentle ways we can care for those we love and for ourselves, because sometimes all it takes is one pillow in the right place to start a morning that doesn't begin with a sigh.